Assalamu alaikum, welcome to this video. So you would like to write code but don't know exactly where to start. A good place to start would be web development, and that's all about building websites or web applications. So let me just pull up my browser quickly. There's a site called W3 Schools, and they offer various tutorials about building websites. So here's W3 Schools. I can just find my mouse. Okay. And you'll see in the top left, there's three links here: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And my suggestion would be to start with HTML, then CSS, and then JavaScript. If you click on HTML, you'll see there's various tutorials about HTML. So yeah, let's read. HTML is a standard markup language for web pages. With HTML, you can create your own website. HTML is easy to learn, you will enjoy it. So here is a phrase in here called markup language. So along a journey of learning how to code, you will come across various concepts, terms that you are unfamiliar with. And what I usually do is, as you go along, don't move on to the next section before until you understand in each every concept that is covered in the current section. So for example, markup language. You might not know what that means. So markup language, web development. Let's see what comes up. HTML or hypertext markup language is the primary language of the web, and the most common one you will work with as a web designer or developer. In fact, it may be the only markup language you use in your work. All web pages are written in flavor of HTML. So it's the language of the web. Basically, that's what they're saying. Well, that's what I understand from this over here. But you can read different definitions, go to different websites and tell you, or even watch a video on what HTML is. Okay. So in this tutorial, for example, you can see easy learning with HTML to write for yourself. They cover a basic HTML document over here. So you click on to write for yourself. The HTML is here on the left, and if you click on run, this is what is rendered. So this is the web. For example, this here on the right column would be a web page. On the left is the HTML that renders a web page. Let me go, for example, to if I right click on this itself, this is another thing that another tool that you should also use is the inspect tool, the developer tool in your browser. So this is Google Chrome that I'm working in. If I right click on the page and I click on inspect, it will bring up the source code of the page. Also, here's another tip. If you want to pop this out, click on three dots over there and you can position the developer tool either at the bottom, pop it out, or on either side. Okay, so this is the HTML that was sent to this browser or to my tab over here to render what you're currently seeing over here. All right. So for example, if I click on body and I click on delete, everything disappears because the body, what's in the body is currently being rendered over there. Okay. Another thing is if I click on this arrow over here and I can select any of these elements. These are all elements. Whatever you can focus on is called an element. Okay. It will take you to the exact code or the exact HTML, sorry, that is rendering that element over there. So example, this is a button over here. If I click on inspect, so I'm on that button at the moment. If I click on delete, I'm removing that HTML. I'm not affecting the site that is currently hosting this W3 schools. It's just the code that was, or the HTML that is sent to my browser is currently downloaded onto this page, so I can play around with the HTML that was downloaded onto this page. Anyway, back to W3 schools. Let me close this for now. So HTML, yeah, that is the language of the web. And HTML is made up of tags, basically. There's a bunch of tags. For example, this P tag over here is a paragraph tag we used for rendering a paragraph. A heading can be rendered with the H1 tag, a subheading with H2, and so on and so forth. So if we click on any of these sections over here, for example, let's click on something interesting. Let's click on classes, for example. In HTML, the class attribute is used to specify a class for an HTML element. So elements being what I told you is, as I mentioned earlier, being the different things that you can select on a page. And an element is usually displayed as a tag. You can add common properties to different elements on the page. So for example, you can see there's some similarity in all these elements over here. So they probably have a common class which is used to display them with a similar look and feel, with the same look and feel actually. But I want to see if there's something. Okay, yes, HTML elements. So here you can see the section over here, the HTML element is everything from the start tag and the end tag. So my suggestion is go through this tutorial, finish all of this, and then move on to CSS again. CSS is cascading style sheets. It's all about the styling, or an efficient and effective way for styling the look and feel of a website. So this would be the next thing to learn, CSS. And after that, you will get into the actual code part, right, of web development, or at least front-end development, right? So I've used the term there again, front-end. So let's Google that. Front-end development. A front-end developer builds a front-end portion of websites and web applications. A part users sees and interacts with. A front-end developer creates websites and applications using web languages such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that allow users to access and blah blah blah. Now we get back-end development. What is a back-end development? Back-end development means working on the server-side software which focuses on everything you can see. So you can read all of this, and again, if you, for example, you don't know what server-side means, right? Then search what that means. Watch a video on it. Or do a whole course on back-end development. I mean, watch a whole tutorial on back-end development, a 3-hour tutorial. And then you'll have a nice understanding of what the concept actually means, okay? So start with HTML, move on to CSS, and then JavaScript. And after that, I mean, if you guys want me to do a part 2 of this video, I can do that. But for now, quickly, let me just give you an idea of how all of this works. Okay. So I'm going to use, I'm going to go to a website just to give you an head start. You go to this website, Veteran Family Health Center. Okay. So this is a web page. If I right click on it, if I hover over something and I right click on it, it will actually focus on that specific element. So that's that image over there. So for example, on this website, that little icon over there is an image, and this is an IMG tag, stands for image, is an image tag, and SRC is a source. That is where the image sits on the server, right? The address of where the image sits on the server. By the way, this is a WordPress website. WordPress does a lot for you if you actually want to go and actually build websites. So maybe, yeah, look at using WordPress as well. But if you want to customize and tweak WordPress, it's good to know how to actually start with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. So here at the bottom, if I go, for example, over the P tag, here is the CSS that's actually affecting the styling of the elements over here. So let me for example of over here. That is a div. Div tag, Google it or go read about it in the W3 schools tutorials. But quickly, div is a tag that exists within HTML. And if I click on this tag over here, here's a class that comes up. Sorry, at least is styling attributed to, yeah, this class over here, this div type. But let me just see if I'm on the right thing. This thing is actually moving. Let me move over here. So this is a heading 3. Yeah, okay, this will work fine. This is a H3 meaning a heading 3, and this specific styling that's associated with heading 3 tags, right? And you will see here, okay, so the color of heading 3 font currently is set to #555. You don't know what #555 means? Okay, so again, colors in HTML is a concept, hexadecimal colors. Again, don't just I'll probably say something now that you didn't understand hexadecimal colors. So when you come across it, either note it all down and Google and read about all those concepts later, or you can Google while you, yeah, busy listening to tutorial or watching a tutorial. So yeah, where are we now? We are back to Written Family Health Center. So yeah, remember, I'm going to make changes over here, but this is affecting the page that I've downloaded. It doesn't affect the actual Written Family Health Center server that's hosting the site. So yeah, I want to play around with the color. So if I can choose a red or something over here and you can see what it looks like. So yeah, as you can see, this class over here, H3, or this tag H3 is being used for all these elements over here. So if I change it for the H3 tag, it applies, or it gets applied to all the elements that are H3 tags. Okay, so this is what CSS does. But now let's look at what JavaScript does. So on the elements, what do you call this? A tab here in your developer tools, the elements tag displays the HTML. If you go to console, you can actually execute JavaScript and see what that does. So let's look at writing some JavaScript that does something on this page. So if you want to create a pop-up on this page, something that creates a pop-up. Let me just. Okay, so here's some code that will create a pop-up as I mouse over the H3. Okay, so please enter. Sorry, that's the incorrect code. Let me just, yeah, use the correct code. So basically, I'm declaring a constant over here called H3 elements. Alright, and I'm saying for each H3 element, add a listener as I mouse over the H3 element, alert hello world. Okay, so let's enter. If I now hover over doc3, it says hello world. The enter says hello world. Okay, so that code seems to work. So you can test your code over here in your console of the browser. Yeah, I think that is it. If you'd like me to do another follow-up video going into a bit more detail or covering any other topics, and please let me know in the comments. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.